Hello, everyone. This is Mary Ellen. Thank you so much for being here and for your patience with me as I am learning this new skill set, being able to live stream here on YouTube. I really appreciate your being here. So today we're going to talk about the Leo October 2017 Soul Tarot reading. The cards that came from the time that I spent in the Loughcrew passage tomb in Ireland. So if you don't know, I recently went on a spiritual pilgrimage for my own personal readings, and I just felt it was time to activate the cards a little more deeply, and I am very thrilled to have witnessed. Hi, Roxana. Glad you're here. I'm very thrilled to have witnessed the love and support and patience that is coming from all of you in my direction. My gosh, I appreciate it as I bumble along. Roxana, where are you viewing from? It's been a lot of fun, this part of the live stream. I've not, as I was getting ready and setting everything up, I didn't think about that part. So it's really fun to be able to talk to folks. So I am going to show some pics. We're going to go through the reading. Hi, Mary Love. Okay, I'm going to go quick. So I'm going to jump in. If you're new to the channel, I'm a clairvoyant. I use the beautiful Celtic Wisdom Tarot cards developed by Caitlin Matthews. So what I'm going to do is check the chat every so often, but we'll jump into the reading. So what you can see on your screen is the sacred passage tomb at Loughcrew. It is up on a very high hill, and like the passage tomb at Null, you have to go and get the key. You have to have a real clear intention and go through a little bit of, falderall, I was going to say. It's probably not the right word, but you have to sort of figure out where's the key, and then you have to drive that place and get it, and then you have to drive to the tomb, and it's a big, long climb up to the top of this place. So one of the things that's significant about Loughcrew is that it is the seat of power for Queen Maeve. So look her up on the internet. There's an enormous amount of information. So, you park your car, you get out, you start slogging to the top. And that day it happened to be a pouring down rain in buckets. And as you walk up the hill, these are the kind of things you see. There are groupings, of course, of rocks. That, to me, I feel fairly certain was another passage tomb that's up near the main chamber. And there are various groupings like that as you go up the hill. So here's another, almost a cruciform. You can see in this picture, there's an opening there on the picture that's on the left. So there are, I think, probably many different passage tombs up in that location. I don't know. I'm not an expert. So I just went on this trip. I intended to have a different type of journey, but this is what ended up happening. Spirit sent me to these passage tombs, out of which came the readings. All right. So what's really special about this particular place is that it is the seat of power for Queen Maeve. And Queen Maeve was quite a powerful woman to be reckoned with in her own right. Pardon me, I'm tongue twisted a little bit. So, from the top of this place, this giant hill, is this passage tomb. And Queen Maeve's throne is sitting on one side of the tomb. And the legend has it that she owned and controlled everything you could see from her seat of power, which is at this tomb. And, it was clouded over. As you can see, it was raining really, really hard. The wind was blowing. And I thought, if I ever have a chance to go back on a clear day, I'll bet you could see for 100 miles. It was astounding to me. and she controlled everything that could be seen from that vantage point. So this is on one side. You walk around from her throne. There it is. So you walk around counterclockwise from that to the entryway. I don't know what all those stones are behind there. There may have been another structure there. There may have been another opening there. I don't know. And I haven't had time, unfortunately, to do the research since I got back. So that's what, in a very brief way, what you see when you approach her throne in this place where you can just see forever. It's amazing up there. So the very interesting thing about Queen Maeve's throne, or her seat, they call it her chair. Queen Maeve's chair, sitting in this place, the seat of her power, and in the center of her chair is an ancient swastika. So I don't have time to talk about that today, but I urge you to look up the original meaning of the swastika and the ancient wisdom about this symbol of power. And as somebody on the Aquarius reading was saying, it's about being married to the land, married to the seat of power. And so there you can find some videos online about Queen Maeve and about the significance of a swastika being here. And unfortunately, in modern history, it has come to have a very negative connotation, but that is not true at all. So I urge you to go and look it up. When the Nazis stole the symbol and turned it backwards, isn't it interesting that that's what they did, to use it as a signification of their power? So I just wanted to show you that because it's very meaningful in terms of the reading that's coming out. All right, so let's see. Here, when you walk around from Queen Maeve's chair and you walk around the side of the tomb, you have to unlock the gate. That's not easy. They've got it set up in such a way that you really have to work to get into this place. But this is what you see. And so, like the other passage tomb, there isn't a literal passage. You have to walk through. And if you look into the center of the picture, you have to climb over a rock. I'm pretty short. I'm 5'2", so it was a little bit of a challenge to climb over that thing. It's bigger than it looks, in order to come into the central chamber. And so when you get into that point, this is what you see. And you can see on the left side of that picture, there are some glyphs there. And the glyphs inside of this tomb and the carvings were prolific, more than I saw in any other place. And I'm sure it has something to do with Queen Maeve. And they are a particular type of carving that I haven't seen anywhere else. So briefly, as you step into the central chamber, you see, like all the other tombs I was in, there are 3 transition altar placement areas. So people would be cremated, the remains would be brought to the tomb, they would be placed in ceremonial bowls that reside inside of these little altars. And I don't know, because far from an expert. My senses, having been in a bunch of these places, here's the next one. Okay, so these 2 tombs that we're seeing are on the right and the left-hand side of the central chamber, okay? And, remains would be brought, they'd be put in the tomb. I think, perhaps attended to as the year went on. And I've been, if you have a chance, go and look at the reading for Aquarius. It is very linked to this reading, and they both came out from the same place. And some of the cards are exactly the same. So I've been talking a lot about the energy tapestry that's being woven this year in 2017 through the particular way each astrology sign is developing. And there are links, and those links then weave together with the community at large. That's what Spirit's saying. And there is something that's happening to prepare us for the solstice that's coming on the 21st of December. because on that day, the energy opens up. It's not just about the sun comes up and illuminates the passageway. That does happen, but there's a reason for it. And like we had the portals at the eclipses, I believe that is the moment when a portal opens and souls who have been resting and, Spirit saying gestating, reviewing, a human life takes energy, takes so much effort to go through the lessons and the changes and the growth that are meant to happen to us, for us, Spirit is saying, as we develop through the course of a human life. Then there's some period of quiet. And I believe that's what these passage tombs were for, and that perhaps the remains were moved around from altar to altar through the seasons or for some particular energetic reason. So when the solstice would come, the sun lights up the passageway. I believe that all the remains were blended together into the main altar bowl that would be illuminated by the sun on the day of the winter solstice in order to provide passage. Isn't it interesting? These are called passage tombs because there's this walkway that you have to walk down, right? In order to get into these places. And so it's an intentional journey. And so this is part of what Spirit is talking about. So I'm going to scroll through rather quickly and just show you some pictures of the carvings that were inside the tombs, okay? So this one that you're looking at is from the inside of one of these altar bowls. They were very highly decorated with all kinds of beautiful carvings and particular types of stone that were different than the stones that were in the central chamber. So there's another one. And so the carvings that were in this particular place were much different than the carvings that were in the passage tomb at Null. They had a very different theme. I'm going to show you the same picture, just a little different light on it in hopes that you can see that a little bit better. So here are the I keep calling them pictures. That's kind of, in a way, that's what they are. This is the type of carving that was in the central chamber. Really beautiful. And I stood there pondering, what does that mean, right? Isn't that interesting? It seems to show perhaps the universe. I kept looking into them and wondering if they were showing constellations. So these carvings were very large. It was really hard for me to get the whole carving into one picture. So here comes the next piece of it. Look at that. It's astounding to me. So I don't know, it looks as though it's the movement of energy. Maybe it's the galaxy that they could see at night. We don't know. There was no written language that we can understand that exists from that time. So this was a very prolific tomb. It's very tiny. It was really interesting to me, being the seat of Queen Maeve's power, how tiny this tomb was. Very small. And the energy inside of it, really intense, really beautiful. In some ways, a lot of transitory energy, I would say, and also celebration. Look at that. Again, don't know. Looks like stars and flowers and things like that. It's really interesting to see the types of things, the types of carvings that were put on the inside of these places. So I'm going to keep scrolling through a little bit and we'll jump into the reading, okay? Get this one. Isn't that pretty? Really beautiful. And somebody in the last live stream, a gentleman named Steve, was talking about scorpions and bulls and things, and I didn't realize he was talking about what he saw in these carvings, and I now understand what he was saying. Let me scroll through a little bit more. And these are not in complete order. Sorry about that. That is on the side of one of the altar bowls, okay, on the external side. And then what's on the inside looks completely different. There are things that look like that. There's the classic spiral. But again, we see those round, um, I don't know, holes. I don't even know what to call them. And so they were there inside this tomb in prolifically, I guess I would say. So, Steve, if you're out there watching again, yeah, I see the scorpion now. You're 100% correct. That's what it looks like. But I have to say, I was also trying to keep my brain out of the way so that I could feel the energy and perhaps interpret without the overlay of my culture and my set point, etc. So it's a topic that you could spend the rest of your life studying, isn't it? All right, just for fun, I'm going to show you the reading from Aquarius that came out. This came out first, and um, then after that, Leo came out. So here's the picture of the Aquarius reading. Check out the cards. And while you're doing that, I'm going to look at the chat and just see if who's here so I can say hi. All right, Roxana, hi. Mary Love, oh, you only have 30 minutes. Well, this video will post to YouTube when I'm done. And then when I have time, I go back and edit out some of the chitter chatter that I'm doing in the very first part just to make it not quite so long. Roxana, you're in New York. I grew up in Rochester. Hi, Amy. Amy, you're here from London. That's awesome. Hey, Annette, New Jersey. Yay. And Mary Love, you're here from Missouri. That's fantastic. Yeah, Carmel, hi. Carmelita, pardon me. Yeah, that place, it was relaxing. It was really beautiful, and I wish it wasn't so darn rainy. The wind was blowing so hard, and it was raining so much, heavy rain. It was literally raining sideways because the wind was blowing that hard. It was hard to get up the hill. Okay, Mary Love, you're looking for a book for me. Thank you. Hey, Michelle, Scotland. My granny was born in Edinburgh. And so on my next trip, I have vowed that I'm going to go explore that part of my heritage. I'm very excited. Carmelita says the symbols remind her of the lightning gods. Ooh, yeah, it does look like the cosmos, doesn't it? So the lightning gods, I'm going to have to look that up. I learned so much from you folks. It's one of the reasons I love doing this. All right, so there's Aquarius. All right, let's jump into Leo and take a look at your particular journey that seems to be reflective in an energetic way of Leo. Okay, so take a look just generally. And I'm going to toggle over into Leo. You see how in Aquarius there's a lot of transition and there's effort, definite effort going on for the journey, including some transformation and ascension. And here comes Leo. Look at that. I apologize. I don't know if you can tell. That's on the seat of my car, my rental car. So what happened was I was there. I was doing Leo. Aquarius had come out. I was doing the Leo reading, and a young couple came, and they were on vacation, and they wanted to come into the tomb, and I didn't think it was my right to keep them out. So they came in. They were very sweet, and the gentleman had a light, and so because of his presence, I was able to see and get these pictures. So I was grateful, even though I thought, oh, darn, I'm being interrupted, So it all worked out fine. I just, put the cards together and put them in my pocket. And when I got down to the car, I laid them out on the car seat and snapped a pic. So there they are. And, it's very dark in there. So it's a little hard to see. So I was shuffling and cards were coming out, and I was just setting them, in a pile in order so I would know how to refold or fold the reading out, so to speak. So when I got down to the car, it was, by the time I left, it was getting dark, so I had to get out. And I put them down in the car seat, and I realized the similarities between this reading and the Aquarius reading, and it blew my mind. There are definitely particular energy set points in these places, And, that's a discussion for one of the live streams. So, anybody who hasn't signed up, please do so. It helps me, it helps support the channel, and gives me the ability to do all the fun things that I would like to do with you folks. So I'm realizing I haven't said hello yet. I apologize for that. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm really glad to have you here. So I'm going to jump into the reading. I'm trying to discipline myself to end on time, which I have not been doing. So I'm going to make that effort. All right. So I'm going to toggle back to your reading, and we'll jump in. Okay. So the spirit card on the top is the adventure of knowledge. And look at that. I love this card. This has come out in a couple of the other readings. All right. There's a couple things about this card. Oh, let me show you. Sorry. There it is. Okay. So this card has to do with Halloween. Isn't that interesting? Spirit knew. By the time I was going to get around to this, it was going to be close to Halloween. So the adventure of knowledge. The adventure of taking your knowledge on a really intense journey. That's what happened to this young man under the light of the full moon. And you know what? It was full moon when I was up there. How about that? And you see the people, the bodies in the background there on the gallows. It's very gruesome. So basically, this young man, there was a tradition, if you could muster yourself, to go out to the town gallows and put a rope around a corpse. Just, kind of like a dare to prove you could do it. He stepped into the field under the light of the full moon on Halloween in order to do this, like a double dare, we would call it. And it was a feat of bravery because you would have intimate knowledge of the dead, of the other world, that other part of life, when we cease being animated. So, he steps in the field. The minute he does, he has a vision. It's always backwards. You see this up here? This is him having a vision of the place where he lives, the city where he lives, burning to the ground. And when that happens, he crosses over into the mystical realm, into the underworld, where he meets a banshee. And let me see if I can, hang on, I want to show you something. Just quickly, if I can make it happen quick. All right. So he meets a banshee. Look at Aquarius. Do you see the top left where the sacred hag is? So again, similar theme. All right. Meeting up with someone who causes a major transition, a shift and change along your journey. When he meets this banshee lady, she says, "Don't worry, I'm going to help you. And you don't have to go through this. We can prevent it. It's just going to take some time." So, the story is he crossed back and forth, and with her help, was able to sound the alarm about this thing that was going to happen. And it was prevented. It took a bunch of time because he was seeing the future. And that's part of the message about coming forward from this moment in this time. The new moon happened a few days ago. So now we're moving into the part of the month where the moon is coming full again. And as those days go forward and time goes on, there's an adventure happening for you. And it's going to take you back and forth. It's meant to, in order to have a sacred vision and meet up with the energy that's going to assist you along your journey. So he was successful, and he prevented this fire from happening. Everything turned out okay. And in the end, he returned to the land of the fairies where he met the banshee woman. And a banshee is they wail and scream. They are part of their purpose is to sound an alarm. So it's really interesting that we see related images in both these readings. So he crossed back over in the end of the story and wasn't heard from again. He lived the rest of his days apparently with the fairies. So he had this adventure with knowledge that hadn't been available to him prior to this moment. And that's part of what Spirit wants to talk about. So, this is the theme that the reading is going to explore, and the light and the support and love from Spirit. Okay, so back to the cards. Look at the card to the left. That is the card that indicates you on this journey. There it is. Look at that. I'm here to tell you, that's what it felt like. The dialogue of battle. All right? A new set point, a number 2 card, climbing up to Spirit to communicate with Spirit. And there's Eagle sitting at the top of the hill. So you see he's got this cloak. It's red. I'm sorry. It's rainy here today, so the light is not great. And he's got the blue tunic on. He's in the process. The journey is causing him to transform. And so that message now, twice, okay, in these different ways, coming through from Spirit, about it's not just the month of October, clearly. And so I'll be curious to hear from you folks about what it's been like for you while I've been off having my adventure, right? This is the adventure I had. I was really scared. I don't know if you've seen the other videos. This was not easy for me. It was, these places are dark and you're in there all alone, and I'm clairvoyant. And so I thought, oh my God, I've had things happen to me that I have not talked about since I've been on YouTube. But the potential of something like that loomed large in my mind and therefore in my fears. I thought, oh my God, what's going to happen? What if I cross over? And have this mystical experience? Can I handle it? So this is the journey that you're on, Leo, vicariously through me climbing up the hill. That's why Spirit sent me there to collect these 2 readings, and I will believe that with all my heart for all my days. So, climbing up to the seat of power, in order to be hand in hand with this type of exalted wisdom, that's Eagle, who flies and soars high above the earth, effortlessly, and can see for miles and miles, just like Queen Maeve and her seat of power. Isn't that gorgeous? Woo! It gave me a chill. All right, look. Do you know in the background? I don't know if you do know. That is the Sacred Passage Tomb at Newgrange. Please Google that. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. All right, so this is the Warrior of Art. This person has no weapons. They're very powerful. And again, a signatory of standing in this mystical place in this way. So, again, think about this guy. He crossed over and he had a mystical journey. And we didn't see from him again. He went into this place, the land of the fairies. Spirit's telling me the land of the dead. Isn't that interesting? And there's the passage tomb at Newgrange. You can see it I did a slideshow, I think it's 13 minutes long, about this journey. It's not me speaking, it's just pictures. There are a lot of pictures there of Newgrange. Go check it out and look that up in the internet. So, do you see the passage, the road, the yellow pathway that leads from where this man is standing? So, he's a warrior, so to speak, a spiritual warrior. And it isn't that the intention and the energy that emanates off of him. See that? And he holds that in his hands. So that which he touches and that which he intends can come to fruition from these sacred places of passage. And so, Leo, I mean, we all know, right? Lionsgate portal, a lot has happened in 2017 that affects Leo. And our president is a Leo. Look what's going on, right? It doesn't matter if you want to transform or not. There are some challenges that are going to come, and you got to meet them. And some of them are going to be hard. Some of them are going to be scary. Maybe not in an overt way, but internally, right? That is the place you're meant to be traveling from and walking with that energy on your human experience as you go through these transitions. All right? You have come through the portals, and this is the energy and the aspect with which you walk as you meet your challenges. That's really beautiful. I'm trying to turn the card so it captures some of the light. That's gorgeous. a warrior of art, not of battle. Isn't that a wonderful message? All right, and here's, in a sense, what Spirit's saying. Here's what you're fighting for. Although Spirit's telling me fighting isn't the right word, striving toward is the message. Okay, look. A major arcana card. That is the keeper of harmony. So it's about the strategy. Using harmony as a strategic instrument, Spirit's saying, going forward. That's what this person does. All right, so if you want to think about struggle or battle or intentions, is what Spirit's saying. It's this: as you walk in these days through the month of October, having come through the portals and joined together with Spirit, you are preparing to go through your own passage. There is a passageway. I believe it now 100%. Having had this experience and with these readings coming out. So, the passage tombs functioned in such a way that on the solstice, many or most of them, the sun would come up and they would be in darkness the whole year. And then on the day of the solstice, and a few days either side of the solstice. So for one, sometimes up to a week, 5 or 6 days per year around the solstice, the sun would come up and illuminate the passageway. In order, I think it was more than just the sun coming through, right? It was an energy. A portal opens, just like the portals that opened during this year when the eclipses came. So we've been prepared all year. That's what all these readings have been about, if you've been following along. And if you haven't, you're new to the channel, welcome. So my readings that started in February have been a saga, a journey that has been building month to month. They're not standalone readings. So if you haven't seen them and you have time, go check out the readings for your sun sign and your rising sign and see what you think. It's a pretty amazing story. It's unfolding. So now, in this, having come through all of these sets of eclipses, what Spirit is saying is now you are being prepared to be able to go through the passageway on the solstice, on the 21st, of December. So this period between now and then is your final preparation for that moment when you have the ability, the veil will be very thin, is what I'm getting, and you'll have the ability to have some passage into that which you are meant to become, to do the work that begins in 2018 as we get closer to the age of Aquarius. So Leo, the lion-hearted, and Aquarius both came out from this place because of the portal. And, that's what we're talking about. Literally, that's what Spirit's talking about. Okay? So, as we move towards the age of Aquarius, it was the portal, the Lionsgate portal, that brought you to this place with your energy and into this aspect. It's really interesting how you and Aquarius are joined together in your energetic efforts, woven together in these moments. I love it. Okay, look at that. That is the last card on the human line. That's the judgment of art. Okay, you see? Warrior of art, judgment of art. So that's the kind of progression you're involved in. And, the other thing that has come through many of these readings is significations of water, which is life energy and love and abundance and ease and flow, right? So in this card, if you can see, there's a line separating it right down the middle. It's sitting on the table like this. No, I got it backwards. Like that. Okay? So, the old way is falling away, and that which has new growth and stability and abundance sits next to the keeper of harmony, who has the energy and the ability as a spiritual warrior to place in the center. Okay, Spirit's giving me a bunch of words all at once. Hang on. Okay, so whoops, wrong card. So to place this concept in a sacred place, right, inside this beautiful bracelet, a place of value that brings transformation and new growth. The strategy, so to speak, with which we move forward in these days in order to bring stability so that that which no longer serves us can fall away, and that which brings abundance in life becomes strengthened and filled with life energy. Isn't that a beautiful message? It's it's amazing. All right, I'm going to toggle back to the cards for a moment. So there's you. You see that bridge card just above the Warrior of Art on the left side, right in the center line? Okay, so that is the elopement of skill. That's interesting, isn't it? That this is the bridge to your experience as a Leo when you go through this transition. And I want to show you. Look for that card. There's Aquarius. Do you see? So for you, it's the bridge into your spiritual development. It's an ascension card because of all the shift and change that's going on. And it sits next to the dialogue of battle, where you have this discussion with Spirit about how hard it's been. Right? It's a new type of battle, a new type of warriorship. Having come through this mystical experience with the adventure of knowledge at Halloween, and here we are. And I had some nervous upset as a fussy Virgo about how late these readings were coming out. And now I have full confidence that it's all unfolding exactly as it should. And I say that all the time. And sometimes I think, oh my God, people are sick of hearing it's just a platitude. But you know what? It's true. Look at that. So, I don't know, Aquarius. I think you should seek out Leo, pardon me, seek out some Aquarius people and start hanging out and let me know what happens because I'm really curious. All right? Okay, so let's talk about this Ascension card. This card is about, again, it's about transformation, a particular type of transformation. Okay. I just told the story a few minutes ago. So it's the elopement of skill, all right? The skill it takes to transform and transition. And there's the Ring of Fire eclipse. Remember that back in February? So there are videos on my channel, and there's a ton of information online. Refresh your memory, Spirit says, so you really understand. Spirit's telling me this is the sort of the broad brush overview of what this year's been about. So this couple, it's about Spirit and us in our human form. All right, Spirit wants me to hold this up, so I'm just going to do it. There's us in our human form, and we cross over. Something causes us. Something frightening, something unknown happens. So this couple had someone who was jealous and standing in their way and trying to keep them apart. The young lady was turned into a fly. Someone put a spell on her. And they were in a banquet hall. She then flew into the mouth of someone who was there at the party. And when she did that, she regestated and was reborn. It was a magical story. How these, like a fairy tale, okay? So when she had been through her transition, which was very uncomfortable, it's not something she wanted to go through. It took some work and some faith on her part, but she had to change. She had to shift and go through a change in order to be able to meet her lover. And then they were able to run across the room, embrace each other. And what they did was they ran to the fireplace and ascended up the smoke hole, up the chimney. When they got to the top, they turned into swans and flew away. The elopement with the new skill set that was gained because of the transformation. And they both have on the colors of transformation, blue and purple. This, in this placement, in the spirit bridge, is very profound for you, Leo. And we watch the American president, so we see the kind of transition that's going on. It's in your face, most likely. No matter how you walk through your life, there's something that you have to experience. There's an experience that's being given to you for your benefit, for this purpose. So let me toggle back. Look at the first card on the spirit line on the left, and look at the left vertical line of cards. The Warrior of Art. Having come through this passage transition, then yes, very definitely change and transition. Again, there's a lot of it going on in this card. We see 3 significations of that in this reading. It's very powerful, this notion. So that all of that change and shift and transition and regestation and rebirth brings to you the sacred foundation. So that first card on the top left and the spirit line is the foundation of knowledge. A couple things about this. Let me show you. Okay, there's the card. Do you see that beautiful young woman standing with the ancients? And she is there in full partnership with all these elderly gentlemen. Okay? There is a foundation of knowledge that comes to you with which you move through your spiritual development. And that is what the human journey is for. And you come to this place, this new foundation on the spiritual realm. And it is a fertile moment. It is youthful female energy, fertility, and more growth and more rebirth in this mystical place. Do you see how they look like they're standing out in the universe? So we see a lot of signification of being across on the other side, and yet fronds, all right? It's affecting what's happening here on Earth. And you could spend 5 months online exploring that topic about the Lionsgate portal and the things that are happening and what we're seeing going on the Earth, and how that is affected by what's going on in astronomy and astrology and spirit saying, out in the mystical realm. So here's the other thing that's interesting. Let me toggle back. Look at that. That's the card that sits next to it, okay? Look at that. You come to this new foundation of knowledge, spiritual knowledge. And so it's a little bit messy there on the car seat. Look to the bottom row. On the left, we have the Warrior of Art, and sitting next to that, the Keeper of Harmony. And look at that line in the center. That's your aspect. That's you climbing up the hill to join your energy with spirit. And right above that is the adventure of battle. Okay, from this foundation, all of this indication of ascension and shift and change. And then the Keeper of Harmony, and in the spirit realm, do you see the same chessboard as there? I'm going to hold it up for you again. Check it out. Look at that. That's King Arthur and his cousin in the story that goes behind this card. Okay, so this is the adventure of battle. Coming to this place, right? So, as above, so below. There are things that are going on in the spiritual realm that are very clearly linked to what's going on here on Earth. So it's funny because it's a little bit reversed. And that's what Spirit wants to talk with you about. So you would expect this to come up on the human line, and it's here in the spirit line. And what's in the spirit line, or pardon me, in the human line, is a major arcana card that I suppose, would expect to see in the spirit line. So there is spirits. The word that's coming through is inversion. There's an inversion going on, and we're feeling it. I mean, I don't have to tell you. We all know what's going on all over the world, not just here. There's things are just being um, intentionally shaken up. So, all right, in this story, if you haven't heard this story of this card, that's King Arthur and his cousin. They're playing a game. It's a nice day. And they're having fun, but you can tell by looking at Arthur, who's this one right here. Do you see he's got self-protective body language? And he's there with his passion. His red cloak is at his back. And yet at the same time, he's kind of going through a shift or a change. And he looks really worried. Let's see if I can get this into the camera. See how he's not having fun, really. Something's going on. And look at those birds. There's a wounding. There's an argument going on. So there's a lot of flurry. While in theory they're just sort of playing a game and having fun, there's something else going on. All right. So basically, what happens in this story is that the cousin is cheating. And he's just being cheeky, right? That's what Spirit says. They're just not able to be present in the moment without causing a bunch of fuss and bother and upset. So they're supposed to be playing a game. Arthur knows he's cheating. He eventually says, "Hey, you know what? Can you stop? Just don't be doing that." And it doesn't stop. And eventually, Arthur just sort of smashes the board, so to speak, with his energy and gets up and walks away. And in fact, what was happening, I forgot to say this. So because they're little magical beings in the background, they had real armies that were fighting a battle based on how they moved the pieces around the board. So, it's about the energy of pure intention that does come through these challenges and perhaps suffer some wounds. You see the wound at the heart chakra of that dove, right? And yet it's the raven, the mystical realm that is confronting it. That's what's happening. That's the process that's going on. And Arthur does prevail, but he has to sit there and go through this process in order to be able to say, you know what? This is where I live. I'm not going to be engaging in this. And that's the process that we're in. And it's very heartening to me because, when I look at the news, I think, oh, Lord, somebody help us because human beings can't seem to manage themselves. What in heaven's name is going on? And of course, it's been going on for eons as we shift and change and develop. Okay, so look at that. This card has shown up a lot in these readings. And what Spirit wants me to talk about is your movement toward becoming the king of skill in your own life. So this person has been through a lot of battles, a lot of challenges, and had to meet them in all these very different ways along the span of a lifetime. Okay? Even this, having to come and figure out how to stabilize energy so that life energy does not flow away. And so we have a stable base and new growth can happen. So, the last card on the Spirit line, the King of Skill, the skill base that you build as you go through your lifetime, having these types of experiences inside yourself, along with what we see in the external world, until you get to this point where the shield is hung on the wall, and in a very humble way, very quiet, in a very peaceful place, look out the window, golden light in the sand. And I've had dreams about this scene. It's interesting. Every time I see this card, it gives me a little shiver. Having come across a long journey, that's the signification of the water and the mountains in the background. Being done with that part of struggle. Now literally using your skill set, becoming the king of skill in your own life, and making the shoes your own path with which to walk into your destiny. That's what Spirit's talking about. And that's the journey that Leo's been on. So when the outcome cards came out, there actually were two of them, which happens sometimes, but not very often. But I think because of the moment and the place. Okay, here's what keeps coming through me, that you were in. And so, there was something about your energy. There was the energy of Leo was speaking from that place. And Spirit just asked me, go collect it. So the message can come out through the cards, right? Or the piece of the message that comes from me. I don't profess to be the end all and the be all. Okay? So perhaps what I have to add has some value, and I'm happy to be available to do it. It gives me a lot of joy. So, all right, having come through everything I've already said, I want to say one more thing. Check it out. I'm gonna say it with the cards. If I can move them around. There. All right. The foundation of knowledge and the foundation of battle. It's a numeral 6. It means you've come a long way. You're more than halfway through your period of development. And there are more days to come before we come to the solstice. So, a spiritual foundation. And this card is a sacred warrior. That's Spirit, over there in the background, watching and assisting and accompanying this development. Do you see that beautiful warrior? Really strong, very clear, holding their personal power, being in control of their energy with their passion. The foundation of spiritual warriorship. Having to go through these battles and these shifts and change. This is about having had a rite of passage. And if coming through a passage tomb, quite literally in all these ways, is not a rite of passage, I don't know what is. And I love that Spirit is speaking to you in this way. So, that's okay. So that this came out as the last card. All right. When I went to do the outcome card, 2 cards literally jumped out of the deck at the same time, fell on the floor. So there they are. So the point of all this, of course, again, this is another major arcana card, is to find balance. Do you see how this being looks like they've been split apart in the middle and resewn? Look at that. And again, it seems to be female energy. So fertility in the mystical realm, because there is a great balancing going on, a great shift and change, that you participate in the way you do because of your energy set point. Isn't that incredible? And Spirit wants me to hold this up again. From the passage tomb. So, maybe it was that in some little way, me being there with these cards kind of put the Leo energy there a little bit. I don't know. I'm going to have to ruminate about this for quite a while until I really fully understand it. But believe me, I was weeping and crying. This was blowing my mind, these readings that came out in these passage tomes. So, we got 5 minutes. I'm going to try to wrap it up on time. Or close to, because I've been going like half an hour over all day, with every reading so far. So, prepare yourself. Know that you are in transition. Whether you realize it or not, whether you feel it or not, it doesn't matter, it's happening. There's something going on inside of you. You may feel it. Between now and the solstice, be very aware of yourself and your spirit being. I'm sorry, I'm distracted because I'm changing windows. Spirit wants you to know. That's the point of the message that comes through me. When the solstice comes, another portal, and Spirit is not calling it a portal, it's being called a passage. No, I've searched myself. I don't think it's just because of the passage tombs. I think the passage tombs were the metaphor so that I could understand and relay the message to all of you, to anyone who happens to see this channel. Okay? So, I'm going to ask for some space in my life in order to be able to be online that day. Spirit's already going, maybe not, but we'll see. So that we can be together if possible. That will likely be a live stream event, so if you haven't signed up for a live stream, please do it. It's a way for me to support the channel. It's very inexpensive, and there's a desire for us to be together in all these ways as much as possible. So in order for me to be more present, I have to manifest the financial ability to do that. So this is one way. And I guess I just want to be really open about that. Okay. So I'm going to take a few minutes and look at the conversation on the chat and see if there's any questions that you want me to answer. So while I'm looking, I'm going to toggle back so you can see the cards. Okay. Hang on one sec. There you go. Okay. Let me just take a peek. Hey, Mary Love, what is the book? Remind me about that book. I'm going to, the darn chat disappears when I stop the stream. So do me a favor, will you put, when this video comes out and posts, would you please put a message on the stream, below the video, and tell me about that book so I can check it out? And Carmelita, thanks again for that notation about the lightning gods. I love that. Okay, somebody was here. Let's see. So, Annette, you're talking about your daughter's father is an Aquarius. Wow, Annette, that is amazing, isn't it? Do you see what I mean? About the internal transitions that we're making, whether we know it or not, things are just happening. And you know what? I want to tell you all, if you're still here, I've been stressing all day in the way a little Virgo does because it's cloudy and rainy. It's going to be raining all day tomorrow. So I've been worried about having enough solar energy because I'm off the grid to I have 3 readings to do tomorrow, and just now, as we come to the end of this reading, the clouds are parting and the sun is coming out. And I don't think there are any accidents. So I think that's for you, Leo. The sun is coming out. I mean, it's astounding to me. So, hi, Amy. Oh, Amy, my gosh. And Roxana, all you folks, thanks so much for being here. So, I could prattle on, but I'm going to resist. It's 2 o'clock. I'm sending you my love. And I thank each and every one of you for being here, for being kind and gentle, and tolerating my growth and change as I shift into this part of my development for the benefit of everybody that I could reach in case it helps. Okay? So, hugs and kisses, and thank you very much. And got a big day of readings tomorrow. I'm going to work on posting that so the event announcement will come out sometime hopefully later tonight. And I'll see you all soon. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of the day, wherever you might be. Thanks again. I appreciate your being here. I'm going to leave you with a picture of the cards, actually.